buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
All right, I'm very excited. Here we go. Hi, this is Paul Slatkus. I'm speaking to Dr. Giorgio Buceellati. Hi, doctor. How are you?
Fine. Nice to meet you.
Well, you're a renowned archaeologist and a professor for UCLA, and you have been over there, I believe, for a few years. Did you dig up UCLA? I mean, did you found it? I've been there so long. I think you created it.
Not quite that archaeological at time, but I've been here, yes, for a long time. Now, I founded the Institute of Archaeology at UCLA in 73, and I was the director for the first 10 years.
Great. How come you went into archaeology? What was the interest for you personally?
Well, I was interested in ancient history and languages, and eventually I had the opportunity of going to an excavation in Iraq, and I began there my archaeological career. Then from there, I also worked in Turkey, and then especially in Syria.
Now, I know you were in Syria recently, I believe, and it got a little dangerous there. And so tell us about what brought you there and actually what brought you home.
Yes, we have been working in Syria for a long time. This particular site that we are excavating now, or that we have been excavating, which is the ancient city of Urkesh, it was a city from about 4,000 BC until 1200 BC, and then it disappeared completely, but it was one of the most important ancient cities in Mesopotamia. So we started excavating in 84 at that particular site, and we were supposed to go back for our 26th season of excavation in 2011, but the unrest began at that point, and so we haven't been back since. However, we had set up a system of protection of the site, which was a very low-key kind of approach, not very high-tech, but had the virtue of being self-sustaining. And so it has been going on during these 4 years now, 5 basically, of interruption. And as a result, the site is in perfect shape, and the local people have been empowered and enthusiastic about defending the site, not only from looters, but also from the weather, which can do almost as much damage.
So how do they do that? I mean, when you go to, first of all, let me ask you a question. How do you know where to go to begin with?
Well, we have a good intuition. No, actually, there are materials on an ancient city, doesn't look like a city at all. It looks like a hill. But on top of this hill, there are pottery sherds that can tell you a lot about the periods during which the site has been inhabited below the hill itself. So on that basis, we knew that this site was pretty important. It belonged to a certain time period. And from documents that were otherwise available from also other ancient sites, we suspected that might be this ancient city called Urkesh in the original language. And we were able to prove it when we found our own written texts in the site some 10 years after starting the excavations. So that's how we found the site, and then we continued excavating. The excavations will go on for centuries because it's an enormous site, and so it will go on forever. We only have scratched the surface, literally, but even so, we are quite fortunate in being able to tell a lot about the site and its history.
I mean, what covers it up? I mean, how is that just nature?
Yes, just dirt. You see, the buildings collapse in antiquity, and the wind and the rain kind of brought dirt and covered it, and then the grass or the vegetation came. There are small bushes, and that's it. It just looks like a hill.
Wow. This is fascinating work that you do. I love this.
Most people would like to be archaeologists as their second profession or as their main hobby. That's true.
I actually started the nature series with PBS many years ago with Donald Johansson. He was our archaeologist. Yeah, he found Lucy, and he was the first host for the first couple of years, way back when.
Wonderful.
And I have Margaret Mead Park on the also renowned on our. Because I live next to the Museum of Natural History, so you guys are my heroes. I love what you do.
Great.
It's really beautiful. So what did you actually find there?
Well, the city is a very large city. The main buildings that we excavated are a temple and the royal palace, and then what is called technically a necromantic shaft. That is a place where the spirit of the ancestors and the gods of the netherworld were summoned to give responses. The architecture is very monumental, but one reason why we are now particularly involved in our site, even though we are not excavating and are not going there, is because of what we did to motivate the local people to protect it and to assimilate the value of this ancient. It's very difficult, you see, to motivate people to believe in a hill, as I was describing before, or in the relatively unimpressive architectural remains that we bring to light. It's not the pyramids, it's not the Colosseum. So you have to really explain what history means. That was our intent. We were able to do so, and as a result, the local people now, in this very time period when there is so much danger at their borders, really, we're only about 60 kilometers from us, that is from the site, the war is raging. And in spite of this, these local people have put together an exhibit of photographs of our excavations, 19 panels, that they are moving about from one small town to the other, exhibiting them in small sort of rooms, cultural centers of one type or another, in these little towns. So this is the best proof of how even culture and archaeology can serve in a time of crisis to bring about identity and motivation. So we're very proud that we have stirred this up and that it works to counteract all of the other horrible things, destructions that we otherwise see in the news. So these are good news indeed.
Now, let me add two quick things. First of all, I can feel the professorship out of you now. I can hear how you're so enthusiastic for others to learn and others to grow, and that's why you've been there since 1973 at one of the greatest universities in the world. Let me ask, where can we see these 19 panels? Is there somewhere? Is there a website, or how is it?
There is yes, there is indeed a website. I don't have it's not really a website, no, it's a Facebook page. And I don't have the link to give you online, on the air. But it's actually a Kurdish local site. It's so recent that we haven't been able to put it in our own website yet. We'll get to it. So the only way to hear about it is from your own broadcast. At this point.
Okay, well, so we'll get, hopefully, our good friend down there, June Thornton, who's fantastic. Maybe she can figure and find out what the Facebook page is, and we'll include that in the copy here of the of our interview.
Yes.
Because I'm sure I'd love to spend some time even talking about each one of them. I'm sure they're fascinating. Well, I know you're very busy. I think you're back off to Italy or somewhere. I'm not sure. I know you have a busy schedule. I'm so happy we got a chance. I want to ask you two last questions, Giorgio.
Sure.
The first last question is, what is good news for you?
Well, in this case, it's really the discovery that there is such a deep sense of attachment to the history as represented in what we find in the ground. People can identify with their past, and in that find cause for unity. There are different ethnic groups in our area. Primarily they're Kurds, but there are also Arabs, there are Armenians, there are Assyrians. And all of them are really identifying with this past which precedes all of them. I think this is good news. That is seeing that culture can serve as and archaeology in particular, can serve as a social glue, particularly at the moment of total catastrophe.
Okay, and then the last question I think is appropriate as well. What is peace for you?
Well,
we're very involved with achieving world peace.
The peace, that we are looking for in this area, because peace means different things depending on the conditions that threaten it, I would think. And in this case, what threatens their peace is the attack from the outside. So peace would be, in the case of our region and of the site in particular, the ability to make the most of what they have in our particular case of culture, but then also, of course, it goes beyond that. It goes to economy, it goes to religion, it goes to culture in general. And so the ability to be themselves. Our sense of pride has really been that we have helped them to bring out what was already in them, that is the attachment to their path. Socrates was speaking of being a midwife in bringing out the best in people. Well, in a way, that has been our mission to bring out what's already there. And this is what gives them the ability to live in peace and to prosper.
I want to be one of your students. Okay, Professor, thank you so much for sharing good news with us.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Thank you, both of you. That was a fantastic interview. Paul and Mr. Buceellati, awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Even though it took a while to get this together and to connect the two of you, I have to be honest, sincerely and humbly from my heart, this was one of the best interviews that I've heard in a long time. It was passionate. You asked some wonderful questions. I like the fact that what is good news for you? What is peace for you? And Mr. Buceellati, you spoke with such passion. I can tell that this is something that's in your blood. You're not just doing this to be doing it. It's in your blood. You eat, sleep, and breathe it. And I just want to thank you so much for your time, Mr. Buceellati. And Paul, thank you so much for your flexibility, because I know we've been going back and forth trying to get the two of you united.
Right.
And we finally did it. And sometimes, things are hard to get together, but it worked out. And I have to say it was one of the best interviews I've heard in a long time.
That's a big honor for me.
Thank you.
And sincerely from me. And all of us here at North American Network.
Okay, my pleasure.
Okay.
Anytime.
Thank you, Mr. Buceellati. Have a safe trip tomorrow. You're so welcome. Gracias.
Thank you, John.
Oh, you're welcome.
Prego.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Paul. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
You too.